We're ready. Okay. We have a very special talk to go through now with my good friend and brother Matías Stefano, who has been fighting some pain in his eye, and he's been traveling a lot, and so glad to see he's doing really well now. And he's going to take us through this incredible mystery that he's been on, and I've also been on with him, and we've been trying to crack this wonderful game. And we're also going to be doing a simulcast for the first time on Orion Messenger. So Orion Messenger, you guys might know, is the platform that we created. Several of our team here have created in a company that we have. And I'm proud to say I'm very soon going to be able to get rid of my telephone number, which is pretty cool. So basically being able to have a quantum encrypted simulcast to 1 million or more people simultaneously is not something you can do on anything right now. And we've been testing it. We just did a test with 100,000 people. This is our first go live. I'm sure it will not be perfect. But if you'd like to help us, we're going to send to the group here. I probably don't want to have everyone here to do it, but we're going to send to the group here a link so that you can actually test it and see it as well. It's very easy to get in. You just basically say, it'll prompt you, and you just say that you want to go through the browser. And then you should be on mute already, so it should be muted. And just go ahead and turn your volume all the way down since you're sitting here, but you can see how it works. We're also going to do that with the people that are on the live cast, because if you haven't noticed, Telegram is acting funny here. I'm not able to, are you guys, who's having problems with Telegram right now? Only a few. Okay. I'm having, it's like super, super slow, and it's not allowing us to do simulcast for some reason, which is kind of strange, right, Gabriel? Yeah. So, but hey, that's also why we created Orion Meet, which is really cool. I've been using it for telephone calls and everything. It's pretty awesome. And very soon you'll be able to go in the next rev of Orion Messenger. You'll be able to go in, find someone in your contacts, and then just call them. You don't need their telephone number. It will basically call them, and they can either elect to receive the call or not receive the call, obviously. And you can add 1,000 people into that meeting, or 10,000 people, or 20,000 people. Pretty cool. Try that on Zoom. Not so easy. Really not easy, and it's not encrypted, and all your data gets taken. So I'm super excited about this, and it's part of this global throat chakra opening, that we have to find alternative channels so that we can have these open conversations as the world continues to transition the way that it is. So, with that, Matías, where is Matías?
Behind you.
There he is, behind me. There he is. Matías, take us away.
Thank you. Well, hi, everyone. Well, this is the only time that I will be with you. I have some other things to do. This is not my time to be so long in Egypt. As maybe some of you know, for me, everything that I do is actually a mission or an adventure that I have to accomplish. So for me to be here is not a random thing that I choose to speak today, because I was reserving this day for something important, and I didn't know exactly what. Today, February 2nd, is the middle point between solstice and equinox. So from December to March, it's a middle point, so it's a portal day. And a few years ago, in 2020, this exact day, we started the path of the I Am here in Egypt. So for me, this day, it's very representative and important for the task that I have been doing. And so this 2025, I know that it's a year to correct certain things for a task that will start in 2026 until 2029, to prepare us for a new level of consciousness in 2036. So for me, today is a middle point in which we set a course of information, of data, towards a specific angle in this reality to help us go through a specific timeline that will help us correct certain things of the system in the next years. So there's a lot of things to explain about this, of course, but I won't explain the whole thing because it's going to be too much. I would rather, more than talking, to set you ready for the task so you can discover that in the next days by yourself. So for sure many of you are here because you are wondering, you are looking for information, you are trying to know more, but for sure most of you are here because you know you are in a mission, and maybe some of you don't know yet why or what is your part. But in the system that we are in this planet, we are all neurons of this mind. So we cannot access the right information if we don't activate ourselves together. So that's why we connect, we travel, we go certain places, because it's the same thing as a neuron would connect with another cell, would access certain data to spread information to other places. So sometimes it looks like you are traveling on a holiday or just a random trip, but you're actually harvesting data, information to take to some other place for another neuron to use. So even if you don't know why you're here, just be open to receive that information so you can give it to someone that might need it. So in my case, what I do is to kind of repair the system of neurons. So my work is basically to wire those points. And of course I explain a lot of things, but I rather do. And I rather go to places and do weird shit. So that's my normal thing. To create systems so the information can be downloaded. So what we're going to do before we leave from this room is to set the structure and the energy for everyone to connect to this territory, to embody this territory, and to unlock certain specific data for you to be able to receive this information and to work with this information during these next days. So the question, first of all, is why are we here? And of course, it's not because of Robert. Besides that, it's because, of course, in different levels, we are all here trying to repair something that, from the point of view of the universe, it was never broken. It is all fine. There's no problem at all. But we created a problem that we are trying to solve. So this timeline and reality in the universe won't transform itself until we find all the possible ways to solve that problem that we have created. So if we ask to the divine would say, I don't know why you worry about, because I don't exist. So I have no problem, I have nothing to fix. But even though each one of you are here because at some point you know that there's something that needs to be changed. That everyone knows that there's something that is out of tune, out of place, and we need to fix it, we need to correct it. And sometimes it's just to know yourself better, because you have been pushed away from your direction in your life, so you're trying to find the course again. So this is not a human thing. I know that humans like to be special, but for example, myself here, I am a human, but the only reason why I'm a human is because it's easier to find the mistake through a human mind than other types of consciousness. Because basically, the mistake was created in a human mind. But here, myself, I'm not working for humans. And that's something I have struggles with sometimes. Because humans want to be the center of everything. They think they are the solution and the problem of everything. And that we are, I don't know, a special race that are bounded by love and whatever. But actually, we are just one tiny little part on a chain of a lot of things that are happening in different dimensions, in different realities. And our actions are very important, but we are not the ones that are the most important here. So actually, we are repeating a system that was created in a molecule level. So the only ones that are trying to solve this problem are just a few tiny little gods that are called silica, carbon, hydrogen. Those are the only ones. Those are the only gods that have been trying to find billions of ways to repair something that was missing in a link between all of them. So we are just a path, another structure that has been created by those divinities trying to solve a problem that they have in that level of consciousness. And we are an expression of all of them. So I don't know how often do you think or realize that actually you are a construction of those tiny little creatures. But we sometimes forget that every time that we breathe, we are receiving the God of oxygen and nitrogen. So we are actually a consequence of these beings that are trying to repair something that one of them lost. And since then, every living being is trying to fulfill that lost, trying to connect each other until they find the link to repair that structure. We call it the rainbow bridge in human tradition, but actually it's basically a fractalization of only one photon that has been broken by mistake. And now we see something that is beautiful, which is a rainbow, colors, diversity, beauty, creation. But all of that is just perceived because something is out of its real angle. Just because something went out of itself. The only reason why we perceive this beauty is because we are living a beautiful mistake from the point of view of one atom, the only one that exists. So everything that we are trying to do here is to relocate those structures and to put them in the right angle, in the right position, in order to find, again, the bright light or the real photon that is actually combining all the consciousness of the universe. So again, the question is, why do we have to do this? If for the universe, it's actually not a problem, if it's beautiful. But even though we know that a photon is fractalized in different colors, we still fight in between those different colors. Like, which one is better? Gabriel, the Archangel Gabriel or Michael, or one race or the other? We still fight to see who has the truth. What God is better, what information is better, what is the right way to do it, to do something, to solve a problem. So we have one spectrum at the right, one spectrum at the left. So we separate only one photon in different options. So the problem that we are facing here is not a universal problem, it's just a mind problem. And the reason is because in the entire universe is basically 3 levels of consciousness: conscious, unconscious, and subconscious. This Holy Trinity is the one that helps one particle to be perceived. So you need the 3 in order to combine and observe the only possible reality. But when one of those 3 lose the point and observe something that is not the point, it means we lose the focus. When we lose the focus and the observation point of the entire universe, suddenly, like in quantum, we create billions of possibilities just because we looked aside instead of the center. So just because we looked aside, and by saying we, I'm saying just one being, one reality, looked outside away, suddenly we are trapped in a constant multiplication of possibilities that are just slices of only one point of observation. So basically everything that exists and we are looking for is just because we are out of focus, just because we are out of our center. That's why we say, go to meditate, close your eyes, look for the third eye, center in your heart, go back to yourself, and all this Chinese cookies messages that everywhere are telling us, you are the one that matters, go to yourself, observe within, change your point of view, blah, 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 blah. And all these philosophies and stuff are basically a mindset that is keeping us all trying to remind us, hey, we have to observe the reality, the point zero of observation in order to find the truth. But what happens with the truth is boring. The truth is boring because it's nothing. When you observe clarity in the point, you become everything. And when everything goes back together to the one point of origin, suddenly everything stops existing. So suddenly it's nothing. So when it's nothing, you become everything. But in order to become everything, you have to be nothing. And then you are trapped in a concept, which is, in order to be everything, I have to disappear. So if I disappear, who am I? And that's one of the main concepts that are trapping us, because we all want to survive. We all want to describe the universe from our point of view, from who we are, from Matías in this case. So Matías is going to try to survive as much as possible to say, this is me, this is who I am, this is my construct, this is my culture, this is my tradition, this is my language, this is my belief. So I can hold tight to a point of observation. So I will never allow myself to actually be in the center. So at the same time that we all are trying to repair and go back to the center of everything, to the middle point of observation, at that same time, we are all trying to avoid it. And we call that enemy ego. And it's not enemy, and the problem is not the ego. But we like to put something to blame out. So what is ego? Ego comes from Latin and means me. It means the self. So what is ego? Is when you are attached so much to the self that you are not allowing yourself to be everything. So we have an idea of what the self is, and we get stuck with that because it's our point of observation. So we need that in order to not get lost in our minds. So we are looking for data, answers outside to validate the self constantly. But I don't know if you have noticed that the only moment when you actually connect with the divine is when you broke everything. When you enter in a crisis that you don't know who you are anymore. And in that moment, truth comes. Because now you have nothing to hold on to. So you are everything. So that's why it's so important for us to get lost, for us to forget. That's why the system is constantly trying to avoid for us to grab an idea of who we are in order to destroy constantly the idea of who we are. And the opposite of it, which is we need to exist, we need to divide in order to perceive, is constantly trying to validate, oh, but you are beautiful, you matter, you are important. You know that in the system, sometimes we start to speak with words that validate so much the self that we keep trapped in a system. Beautiful words that we call spirituality, love, consciousness. And all those things that sometimes we say, oh, this is the actual truth. We're all love, we're one, and so on. But then when we come back home, we have a shitty inner life. Why? Because we are just validating the self to survive in a system, not to become everything. In order to become everything, we have to release every idea that we have of consciousness, love, self, and all those beautiful words in spirituality that we have been saying to us all the time. So, instead of, in that time, saying, this is the truth, you start to use it in a different way. A game. And you start to play with it. Sometimes you need love, sometimes you need consciousness, sometimes you need math, sometimes you need an adventure. But when the self knows that none of that is true, it's just a tool for you to find the middle point, then you start to be free from every system that you're using. There is one mistake concept that we have, which is the release of everything. We have been said that we have to detach from everything that we are and we have in order to become more spiritual. What it means to be detached, it doesn't mean to leave. It means to understand that everything that exists is just a tool for the being to use. So you can use anything that is around you, knowing that nothing is actually true. So that's what a game is. Now, there's a lot of people that are believing that the game is also true. That's why we are, again, trapped in that system. The game, the reality, nothing is actually true. It's just a perception of the mind trying to find something that has been lost, which is our point of observation, our point of axis, the center of who we are. And in order to arrive to that point, we have to use our humanity, but stop thinking as humans. If we keep thinking as humans, we will constantly project humanity into everything. And that's what we have been doing, putting the image of a guy with beard in the sky that we call God, but actually in our mind is Dad that has been leading us through the desert when we escaped from Africa. So the perceptions that we have in our heads from our biology are being projected into every level of consciousness. So in order to arrive to the actual truth, first we have to destroy our distraction. And you know what destroy means? Is to pull apart the things that were put together. And there's a funny thing about this Troy, which is basically to say, to get out of Troy. You know the story of Troy? That's not the etymology, but it's a code. The story of Troy is something that I would encourage everyone to understand, because it's related to everything that is happening to us every time. I won't go deep into the story of Troy, then you can read it, but just have it in mind that there is a holy trinity in that story that is fighting to one another to see who is better. And the reason why they are fighting for who is better is because someone gave them the fruit of the tree of life and said, only one deserves this. So the 3 points of observation, instead of the 3 observing the same point, they started to fight for who owns that fruit of life. And that created something that is called dissonance or discord. In music, if you have 3 notes, you create a chord. If those 3 notes are not aligned, so you have discord. So that conflict is the one that we have constantly within ourselves. Mind, emotion, and body. These 3 levels of consciousness that are not aligned one to another. So Troy was a symbolism on how, when you are not aligned, you allow viruses to come in, to take over. And then, when you try to escape the virus, you just spread it. You know that the Trojans, when they escaped, founded Rome. Do you know that, the story? So, if you read that story, the Trojans, when they escaped from the Greek people, they went to Italia and the peninsula, and they founded Rome. So even today, our system is designed by Rome, which means that we are all living as the Trojans. So all our consciousness and awareness is basically aligned with that distortion of that story. And that story started in the northwest of Turkey. The northwest of Turkey is a specific point in the planet that represents the pineal gland of the Kundalini of the planet. The snake that moves the energy of the entire world is Turkey. So now let's have this remembrance. I said to you at the beginning that the only thing that exists is just these chemical elements, these frequencies and particles that are trying to combine to find a mistake. So that's why everything is a fractal, because we are just fractalizations of that specific elements, those specific elements that are trying to combine to figure out something. So when we start to connect with ourselves in that specific level of consciousness, we start to see the patterns everywhere. We can see the fractalization of all the system everywhere. And that's when we get crazy. Why do we get crazy? Because when it's Matías trying to figure that out, you get crazy because your mind is trying to solve everything with your ego. But when you allow yourself to just release the ego and recognize that everything is a pattern, it's not me who has to solve it, it's the mind of everyone that has to solve it, then you allow yourself to expand so people that knows how to solve it show up. Like in my life, Robert. I don't know about numbers. I don't know how much is 2 plus 2. So since I was 12, I was asking my guides, how can I solve a problem that is based in math if I don't know math? My guides told me, because you are thinking as Matías. You have to release the self in order to know that someone else have already figured that out. You just have to put the pieces together. And that's what we are doing here. So when we are trying to solve the things just by ourselves, we miss a lot of data and a lot of information that is around. So sometimes it's not about looking for it, it's allowing yourself to be found. That's why myself, every day I post more weird things. And so confusing sometimes that people don't understand why. Why is Matías with this? Why is there? Why now he's here? No one knows. But the reason why that is happening is because I'm just triggering the people that knows why I'm there to activate that information, that data. So everything is a fractal. So when you allow yourself to be a tool for that fractalization of those chemical elements, then you understand that Earth is also that. So Earth is like us, and we are like Earth. And the solar system has chakras also, like we have in our bodies, and the universe is the same system. So we just project the same system once and again in a bigger scale or a tinier scale. So having that in mind, if you have to design your Kundalini in your body, how would you do it? You would start in the root chakra, designing a spiral that it's energy that activates in your crown. So there you have the snake. Okay? So if you follow that information goes through the spine. So it means that every vertebra is a specific territory where that information will be activated. Now, we are standing up, but actually, we are born like this. We are created in the shape of Earth with specific Fibonacci structure, which means that in the planet, you have that exactly in the same position as in your spine, starting in Turkey and following all the mountains, the range of mountains of the world, ending in Tierra del Fuego in Chile, Argentina. That's the tail of the snake. And the head, Turkey. So, in the system says something is dissonance in Turkey. So, how can we balance the head of the snake? Because the snake has something in this part of the face, which is poison. Yeah? How do you say fangs?
Fangs.
Fangs. So the fangs, if you go to the geography, you will see that Troy is right there in the fang of the snake. So that is poison. But the poison is to defend itself, not to kill. I have to defend the knowledge that is in my mountains. So I have to protect this territory. So this is the poison. Now, in order to transform the reality, we need to transform the poison into medicine. And for that, you have to change specific link in the molecules to shift the rainbow bridge in a different direction. So it's just the same molecular structures that by adjusting them into a different position, you create light instead of darkness. It's the same thing. So how do we do that? Well, in the north of the snake, we have the crown of the snake. The crown of the snake today is called Ukraine. And in the south, we have the throat chakra of the snake, which is called Syria, Israel, Lebanon, Palestine. All that territory, then, is the throat. And then we have the pineal gland in Armenia, Georgia, Azerbaijan. So, as you see, if you pay attention to the news, it's kind of a mess around it, isn't it? But it's not a mess today. It's been like that for thousands of years. Because when you have such a powerful poison that can change everything, everyone wants to have it. Everyone wants to have that power. Everyone wants to get that information. So, how do you balance the snake for it not to kill, but to enlighten, to create medicine? And that's where the Atlantean people comes in. Atlantean people said, in order for this territory to transform humanity, we need to align the territory. And in order to align the territory, we have to go under the snake. And exactly in the same line, to balance every chakra and create the staff of Hermes that could balance the poison and make the medicine with alchemy. The word alchemy is an Arab word that comes from the Egyptian that means the chemistry. That actually comes from the word black soil. So it makes reference to the Nile and how the Nile was the place where all the magicians that knew how to transform the poison into medicine were born, prepared, raised. So they go from the south of Egypt to the north of Egypt to prepare themselves in order to create alchemy. So then, with that balance, they can face the snake and transform Troy into medicine. So the reason why everyone comes to Egypt is because Egypt is the place where humanity at the very beginning designed the way in which we can all balance ourselves to heal the poison of the snake. And remember, why is there a poison? Just because there was something out of tune that shifted a molecule into its opposite. So the poison, the trauma, the conflict, the problems that we have, everything that we are trying to solve all the time is just a dissonant discord of a few molecules that are not aligned in the center. So every poison in this world is basically just a loss of axis. So the photon could move properly in the right angle. In order to heal, then we have to just correct the angle of that photon and change the perception on where are we heading, what is the direction of light, what is the point of view of observation. This is not something we're going to solve in the next 11 days. This is something that has been forever going on for millions of years. The thing is that we perceive time in a very different way as it actually works. We are just a combination of frequencies that are trying to find the moments of worst poisons in history. And suddenly the consciousness starts to awake in those specific moments. And in order to understand this, I would like for you to think that time is like an ocean. And we are all on a boat. And every wave is a specific moment of time. And we have decided we have to go into this direction. But something that I was said in Antarctica, there is no captain on the boat. Because everyone decided to go on a party. So everyone is having a party inside the boat, even the captain. And because the first captain said, we shouldn't be on a party, we have to be all awake and knowing where are we heading, everyone threw the captain out of the boat. And now the captain is lost in time, in the waves, trying to get back to the boat. But everyone is having their own party, not knowing where the boat is going. Imagine now that that boat is the planet Earth. And the space is the ocean of time. And we are heading to a specific direction of time that is not aligned with the consciousness of this planet. And the reason is because everyone is thinking in a completely different way. And we are not in our center. Because we are not focusing and knowing where we are heading as a planet, and everyone wants to go in a different direction, the boat has no captain. The captain of this boat was here in this land. It was called Thoth, Hermes. And he managed to be that one because Hermes is not a person. He's a concept. He was someone that at the beginning realized that he was no one. And when he realized that he was no one, he was able to become everyone. And by becoming everyone, he became every master in history. And he designed every pyramid, every temple, and the entire plan around the planet to show how to pilot this boat. But in every wave or storm that we had in the middle of time, someone was trying to take over the pilot. Someone was trying to take him away. And if everyone of the crew, if everyone in the crew is just having their own party and not knowing where they want to go, so no one is actually telling the pilot where are we heading. And even worse, we all think that the direction he chooses is the wrong one for us. So the whole thing now is, how do we tune in all the people that are having a party to remember that they are sailing on a boat without a captain? And what could happen then? So, because we all have free will, the best way we have is basically to shift the dissonance of the music in that party. If we start to shift the music of the party, instead of just for fun to go in, so then everyone will start to wonder, who am I, where am I going? And this is happening right now. Like most of the people in the planet are asking those questions. Who am I? Where am I going? But because we have been so long controlled by other systems that we ourselves created, so we are stuck in the idea that every time that I find a new answer for that, that's the last one. So I fight for that answer. And it's never the last answer. So there is something missing. That compass that is telling us where to go, there's something missing. And all the people that is becoming aware in that party, they have to find the clues on where is the captain, how to put him again in the boat, and how can we all help everyone in the party to shift the discord towards a real chord. So this is a work that we are not just doing in this time. We are having people working for this in the future, in the past, in different timelines. People that we sometimes call aliens are actually ourselves in different timelines trying to correct the course. People in the past are trying to leave the maps and the clues hidden in the codes so we can find them again. So it's not that we have to solve it, but we have a part in all of this. We have our own part in what everyone is solving in different timelines, trying to correct. So why we are here in Egypt then? Every time that a group comes to Egypt trying to figure out something, we are not just trying to understand the math or the history or the myth. As we walk through every temple, through every stone, through every mountain, as we sail through the Nile, we are awakening in our memory, in our cells, in our souls, the path of all those who have gone through this land searching for that balance. So we become a portal for all of them. So when we walk again in those temples, we can become an anchor for all of that consciousness to be active in our timeline. That's why it's so important that when you go to those territories, to those places, walk not like if it's you, but as you walk, allow yourself to not be you and be everyone who have walked there. Allow yourself to remember every corner. And in order to remember, you have to just let yourself go and explore, not just wandering, but becoming. And in this specific day that you start this trip, you went to the Serapeum, and Sir Apis was the bull. He's the beginning of everything. He was the beginning of the design of everything. But the reason why they choose a bull, it was because it was actually the path opener for all of us in history. When we started to sow a humanity consciousness, the seed of consciousness, the main idea that everyone in the past had was to use a plow and to be pulled by a bull. You remember that image? Yeah? So the bull was the force that opened the path of soil so we could put the seeds. So that's why the bull in the sky, Taurus, is the one that opens the galaxy for us to sow the stars in our consciousness. So follow the stars on the sky, follow the stars and the seeds on the ground. So what they did in Egypt was to create this path throughout the Nile, to create every temple, every pyramid as those seeds, as the Apis was opening the path, as the bull was opening. So today you started with the bull. You went to the Serapeum. And that means that you went down where the seeds were activated with the perfect frequency. So then they could be sown in every temple. Yeah? So now every territory of from Ethiopia and Uganda to Sudan and then Egypt, the whole territory is a connection between heaven and earth in order for us to find the right path within. So we all have the Nile in our centers. The spine is the Nile for us. So as we move south, we go temple by temple, which is chakra by chakra, moving up until we find the pyramids in between the throat and the third eye. So we activate the pyramids in our head so we can open the crown in the Nile, in the delta. And once it's open, then we can face the snake. So the path of enlightenment is not to just sit and meditate and find the light on the head. The path of enlightenment is basically to find the photon that has been spread in all the colors, creating different poisons and medicines. And how do you put them all together again to face the snake? So once you find enlightenment in the path of Egypt, now the adventure begins. It's not the end. The beginning of facing Troy, of facing Turkey, Anatolia. And from there, the entire system of the planet. And then is when we realize we are here to not just work with ourselves and to be a right human, but how can we do the same thing with Earth? Because Earth, right now, it's out of its course in time, meaning that there's a frequency that shifted the medicine of this planet into poison. So the Rainbow Bridge is not taking us to the divine, it's taking us to the self and constantly trying to survive. And when a cell in a body tries to survive, needs a lot of energy from everywhere. And when a cell needs energy from everywhere, it consumes the cells around. And when it does that, instead of moving forward, it starts to move backwards, side by side. And when we are moving backwards, the cell becomes cancer. So today, Earth is a cancer cell. And if we spread to Mars, like Elon wants to do, we will spread cancer to the entire system, moving backwards, trapped in a loop in time. So who is the captain of this boat, and how can we balance that captain of the boat? And I would say this, if Elon accomplished to go to Mars, that means he is the captain. So, the thing is not about thinking that he's the wrong one. Remember, the only difference between poison and medicine is just the right angle of light, where the photon is moving in a specific molecule. So we cannot judge the whole planet if we are not yet in our own right path. So that's why we have to practice once and again, trying to figure out and find out constantly how in this land, in alchem, they did it, until they create alchemy to make the poison into medicine, so we can find the right path. Yeah? So this has been for ages, but this is the first time in history that we can actually leave the planet and not come back. This is the only time in history that we managed to create intelligence that has no soul. So we are going into a different timeline that is not going to be the light one or the better one unless we befriend the poison. You cannot just expel the poison of the world. You have to correct the angle. So the poison becomes medicine. So consciousness is about how to put the right angle for the photon to move properly. It's not about feeling love and peace. When we try to feel love and peace, we are just responding to our mammal energy, our mammal programming that says, I have to be at home in a cave, protected by mom, guided by dad. And if they do their job, then I will be fine. And I will feel loved. So that is not consciousness. It's mammal way of thinking. Yeah? That's why I was saying, we have to transcend the idea of what a mammal would think the solution is in order to actually to find the solution. Yeah? So that's why it's important to start thinking in terms of how the light is moving through space, where it is heading to, and how it is modifying and shifting every molecule towards poison. Because we all have that poison within. And we are not the bad people. We usually think, I'm the good one, but even though we are not in the center, we are still trying to figure it out, how to balance ourselves, how to be in our center. Yeah? For example, myself, I wouldn't have that in my eye if I was in the center. Like, I went out of my center for a moment in a very tough situation that I had, and a lot of darkness took my point of view. That's why my eye is like it is right now. It's like my eye of Horus, my eye of Ra is out of center. So that's why I got like this. I lost a lot of energy trying to come back to the center in the forces of gravity. So we are all in that process. It's not like someone is enlightened or has more answers than the other. We all have to find the core, the axis. So there's no one that has the solution of this. There's no one that has the answer. And the people that can help in the correction of the system is the people that today we think it's the poison. And that's the problem of people that believe in love. Because all the solutions live within those that are active agents of what we could think are the evil. But only them can shift into medicine. So if we don't allow ourselves to recognize our own poison first and practice on how we can shift it into medicine, then we are not going to be able to help those who live in their poison to become the medicine of everyone. And that's why we have to forget about who we are to release the ideas and preconcepts that we have in order to access the truth. And the truth is not a spoken word. The truth is just stillness, axis, and example. So, yeah, so what I would love to do before you have to go to have dinner is to practice a little bit on how to put that structure within us and how we can do it all together. Do you agree? Yes. Yeah? Okay. So, is there anything that before we go to this you need to clarify about what I just said? We could be here for days talking. But I would say, just regarding what I just said, if there's anything that I didn't get this, of course, if you didn't get something, you will have the chance to figure out by yourself. Yeah?
You mentioned like Thoth was our captain. How do we lose him, or was it a choice by Thoth?
It was because there is free will in certain levels, not in all of them, but in certain levels there is free will. A being that is conscious and aware of the system cannot force you to say, I am the captain. Cannot tell you, I know the way. If it tells you, I know the way, follow me, So it's not actually free will, you are becoming part of its system. So when a lot of people started to look for another way, another system, he just has to release it for others to try. So it was not a choice, but of his point of view, it was a choice of many that decided another course. And for example, Christianity was one of those courses. So Jesus became one of the captains for a long time. Yeah. So there were many. Okay. So I would ask for everyone to move to the center, if you can. If someone cannot sit in the floor, just sit around in one of the chairs. But I would recommend, this is going to be our center. Okay, so you can come close. Try to have your own space around. We can be in an ellipsis, so a little bit longer here. Yeah. And first of all, we will sit. Try to find your own place. And I call this position, when you sit like this, in this position, with the head a little bit to the center of your body, is the tetrahedron position. Okay? Of course, we call it the meditation position, but actually is a tetrahedron. Okay? So, of course, if you all follow Robert, you know what a tetrahedron is. So why this position of tetrahedron? Our biology allowed us to create this shape, the tetrahedron, because that's the seed of all the other fractals. Okay, so that's why we can be like this and go to anywhere in the consciousness of the universe. Okay, so that's why this position is the best one to access all the system. So what I would suggest is to get out of your mind by recognizing that your legs are shaped in a triangle, in a base. So that's all it is, a triangle. Then when your arms are resting on your knees, you have one triangle in your side, one triangle in front, and another triangle on the other side, having the spine as an axis and your arms as as edges. Okay? So, and your head is basically the top of that axis. So instead of thinking, this is my body that is sitting like this, just think, I am a tetrahedron. Yeah? I am 4 triangles combined together. Then, with this image, we will locate the spark in the center. The spark is in between the plexus and the heart. That's the center of the whole triangle. So the spark, it's in the solar plexus, and when it ignites, it lights up the flame in your heart. So that's how the fire appears, by the concentration of all the points of view of your knees, your hands, your coccyx, your head, all pointing to the center. When all the points of view of yourself, from below, from above, all goes to the spark in your solar plexus, you activate the divine spark. And that divine spark is the one that ignites the flame that is in your heart, that rises up the heat to your head, which is the thoughts, the ideas. So as you have that image, you start to burn every idea, every concept. You start to burn every emotion, every feeling. And as you burn above, just take deep breath to ignite the fire bigger and bigger. And you can close your eyes whenever you want to imagine that. So you start to create more fire in your heart as you breathe deeper and stronger. Every time that your mind goes somewhere else, just go back to the middle point, to the solar plexus where the spark is. Just observe that. Deep breath. Only with your nose, and if you need to release anything, through your mouth. Once and again, deeper, stronger, so the fire is bigger, and every fire that you feel, it's burning everything. Ideas, your throat, your brain, your eyes, each one of your senses being burned by this fire of your heart. Feel how the ashes fall into your sacrum, in the intestines, in your genitals, pouring all over your waters and your soil. In this triangle between your legs. Deep, faster. You breathe faster. Releasing through your mouth. Shorter breath, deeper breath. Feeling the fire rising through your throat like a chimney, a fireplace. Leaving all the ashes on the soil, nourishing your roots, nourishing your sacrum. Allow your body to express if it needs to move, to allow the fire go to every extreme. And just bring your consciousness constantly to this spark in your solar plexus. As the fire consumes everything around you, your thoughts, your feelings. As you take deep breath, when you release, starts to allow some sounds freely to come through your mouth, to release the fire from your mouth. Breathe, ignite the fire, and release sounds, words, voices. Don't judge yourself. It can be a complaint. It can be harmony. It can be a cough. Just allow anything to be released and burned. Breath. Just release it all. Your sound. Move your joints in circles. Allow the flexibility of your tetrahedron to move, to find the right. Allow the fire in your arms, your hands, your arms. Allow your body to move, to stretch. Everything that is inside of you without judgment. Allow it faster and louder. Remember that in this way, you're allowing your hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and carbon to speak, to communicate through the electricity, the pulses of your brain, the pulses of your heart. Feel how this fire is burning all your body, allowing all the ashes to nourish the soil of your legs and root chakra, creating black soil, and the waters of your sacrum, your intestines, start to flow. You can move with the water in waves, allowing it to move throughout your body, up, like a source coming from the black soil, moving up to your north, creating a long river, one coming from your right foot, the blue Nile, and the other one from your left foot, the white Nile. They get together in your root, flowing up your spine, the long Nile. Allow your chantings to call the water to flow with the fire. Sing to it. Allow your voices softly to sing to the two snakes of fire and water. Sing your song. Allow it to come through the vowels. Calling it up. Feel how through every corner of this river, new fires ignite. Every temple holds a fire within. Like a path of stars going up through the center of your being. Abu Simbel. Filet, Khnum, Komombo, Edfu, Luxor, Karnak, Dandra, Abydos, Tel el Amarna, Dashur, Fayum, Sakra, Giza, Abu Rawash, igniting the lighthouse of Alexandria in your crown chakra. activate all Egypt within you. The staff of Thoth. Deep breath. You can take your awareness to that part of your body that seems to be out of tune. And with your hands, you softly bring the energy that is in that part again back to your solar plexus. Caressing, touching, guiding with the tip of your fingers the energy going back to the center of the self. Take a deep breath. Bring it all back to the center. And breathe deep. Softly Move your shoulders in circles, your hands in circles, your neck in circles. Become aware that you are a fractal of this territory, that you are connected to the feminine and the masculine side of this land, crossing the Nile from one side to the other, with a snake of water, of silver, and the snake become aware of this moment and memory, all as one, here and now. Every time that you step with your first foot at the gate, at every door of every temple and pyramid, you will enter. Remember that it's not about the temple itself, but the silica, the minerals that are in the walls and the floor, that storage the data that will resound in your own silica, in your cells, accessing the data of your rainbow bridge in your DNA. As you enter, you are not a human entering a temple in Egypt. You are a molecule accessing from the consciousness to a battery to be recharged and restored. May the path outside takes you to the path within. Welcome to Kemet, the path of alchemy. Warshbarti, welcome home. Deep breath. Move your body, yawn, stretch, shake your hands if you need it, stretch your legs. You can stand up if you need. Jump a little bit to come back here now. Taking all the statics away by shaking the body. Well, I'm sorry I cannot be the weirdo in every temple with you, but I hope you can be even weirder for me. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know what time is it. But...
It's almost 8, so it's good.
Ah?
Dinner. We can go to dinner.
Oh,
We finished
perfect.
it early. You know what we could do? We could answer some questions maybe some people might have.
If you have any questions, we have 30 more minutes.
Okay.
Otherwise, you can go to have... what?
Matías,
Oh, sorry, dinner is here?
Dinner's, no, it's in the Italian restaurant.
It's an Italian restaurant, okay.
It's here?
Oh, it's here?
Sorry.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, dinner's here, so we're fine.
Perfect, so we're fine. So you can just
You can
sit.
sit down if
You can sit where you... Yeah. And in 30 minutes I will shut up.
Yes, 30 minutes. You got 30, 45.
Can I hug you, please?
Go ahead.
Thank you so much. When you sang it made me feel like home. Thank you. Thank you.
Matías, Thank you so much, first of all. I think a lot of people have been crying on at least to say. My question is how you remember and how you feel about this interconnection of the core chakras and related organs of the body with the planet Earth. Can you share this a bit more?
Yeah. I don't know if the ones that are very close, if you want to sit down, so those who are sad can see. Chakras related to the planet. So when we think about the planet, we have to, of course, think in a different way as we would organize it in our bodies, because we locate ourselves in this way, and the planet is like all mixed. So it's not like a human that would, let's say, the eyes are here, the lungs are here. For example, North Pole and South Pole are two eyes. So one eye, the other eye, and then the center of the planet is the third eye. But you can see the expressions of every chakra in different territories. So, for example, Africa is the center of everything, where everything ignites and starts. So it's the root chakra. It's not all Africa, because some parts of Morocco, for example, are more connected to Europe than Africa, or some parts of Egypt to Middle East. So it's in general, the energy in general represents the root chakra. Then you have the sacrum, which is in between Middle East, India, and Oceania. So it's like the two sides of the sacrum. Then the plexus is in Asia. The heart is Europe. The throat chakra, North America. And the third eye is South America. And the crown chakra is Antarctica. So of course, as you may see, is like, oh, this is my north, but actually in the planet goes towards the south. Yeah, so Antarctica represents that white chakra, which is opening to all the rays of light. So then you can see the spine of the planet in the highest mountains around, the chest of the planet, like the sternum, in the Atlantic Ocean, the center of the Atlantic Ocean. So that's kind of a rough image on how to locate the most important territories. But then you have fractals of that in every continent, and so on, until you go to a village or to a mountain, and you have also different chakras there. So, yeah.
Is there any benefit of visiting those places?
Benefit of what? Living?
Visiting those places.
Well, in the same way as our neurons, cells, they move through our body to grab information, to connect. When we travel or move to those places, we are taking benefit of those places, and those places are taking benefit of our connection, because we are bringing data from other places to those new ones. That's why, for example, some people might say, you can access all the planet just by sitting and meditating. You know, you don't have to travel to do some stuff. And that's true, of course, if you are in the mind. But when you are in the body, when you have a body, action is the one that moves energy. So when you go to certain places, you're moving so much power to those places that opens gates for those territories.
Is Mount Kailash significant in any of the chakras?
Kailash? Yeah. Kailash is one of the highest points of the solar plexus, which is Tibet in general represents that spark. So that spark that ignites the being. So the self is relied in Tibet, in the territory called Karakorum, and Kailash is the like one of the main nodes to access the self. Yeah, in the entire planet. I've been there. I almost died. I was supposed to go to die. No, I was supposed to go there to die.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
almost. Huh? Physically, yeah. Yeah.
Hi. You have lived so many past lives that you can actually remember. In any of those
Most of them
lives,
boring.
did you witness the people that you were with levitating those stones, some of those stones?
Well, of course, my culture, as many of us here, we were in those moments. And in order to accomplish that, they needed to use a lot of tuning forks. And humans became those tuning forks. So to move those stones, you need to be in perfect harmony with the other. It's like a specific tuning fork. And you have to be in exactly the same note as the other one to resound. So that task could be only done by the high priest or priestesses that reach a point to become the element itself.
Did you witness it?
I witnessed that, yeah. But my school was not the stones, my school was water. So I was working with water, not with the stones. Yeah, but I witnessed how they did it, yeah. I don't know the science behind it, but I know that they needed like to be constantly, they couldn't be related to most of the people because any word or any emotion would distort. So they have to be like monks all the time, yeah.
Matías, when you were in Antarctica, did you... Oh, I can hear you, sorry.
Hi.
When you were in Antarctica, did you, when you pulled in the codes, were they then embedded in the water with ice?
They were what? In the water?
Were they then embedded in the water and the ice?
Ice.
Yeah.
Yeah, ice. Water brings information from one side to the other. Ice storage information. So Antarctica is like the biggest library that we could think of, at least in this planet. So everything that happened in this world is storage there as a record. So that's why going to the door of that record, which is Antarctica Peninsula, enables to take some of those codes that have been stored in there. Yeah.
Did you experience that when you were there?
Yep, we did.
And may I ask?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
So this 144, do you have some insights about 144 this mission?
Well, I would recommend. I don't know how it's going to be. The activities how are going to be, but I would recommend in certain moments to work in groups of 12 to establish certain structures, because when we only have it in our minds, it's just an idea. But when we structure it in patterns, it's like geometry. So you download something into matter. So it's like, for example, what we did here, it's very powerful because it allows everyone to start tuning into their frequencies. So when you create a group of 12, you are making, a resonance for the program that is written in 12, in code 12. So as you put 12 people facing each other and resounding together, so what you do is to open the path of the music with the 12 notes, colors with the 12 colors of the rainbow, the prophets, the how is it called? The astrology, the constellations. So the hours of a clock. So you are embodying the codes of everything when you put that like that. So when you have 12-12, it means that every code is being activated. So all of them are completing the cycle, which is the cycle of the 12th cycle of 12. So in that moment, it means that a cycle is closing and a new one is beginning. That's why the number 144 is so important for closing and beginning a new cycle. And I am actually in 18 days, I'm going to India for Kumbh Mela, which is every 12 years, all the gurus of India gather in the same city. And this one is the 144 gathering in 2025. It's this month, all February. So it's also a representation of why in Egypt it needs 144 coats to wrap 12 cycles that are wrapping in India, which is the center of consciousness, of transformation of consciousness of this planet. So I would have that in mind. As you walk through, is the whole consciousness of the planet is closed in a cycle of 144, which usually is in the center of India to create that balance. So something is going to shift from this year.
So the axis is going to shift.
The axis is shifting in the mind first. Yeah.
Question. Is it okay to activate our Merkaba inside the temples? Is it recommended?
Well, I would say that you activate the Merkaba before going there to the temple. So as you walk, you already have all of that open. So before leaving to the temple, I would just take at least 5 minutes to sit down like we would right now and activate the Merkaba. So it's already open when you access the temple. Because of course, well, most of you might know, but for others might be the first time, it's very annoying to be in the temples. Okay? It's not easy. And the first thing that happens is that everything might trigger you. Like it's uncomfortable, people are talking, people are bothering, the guards don't allow you to sit or to look at something intensely. So if you are not in your center before that, it might take you out like, pah! Okay? So I recommend for you to do it before. So when you enter the temple, you can just move around with everything activated already. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Hi. Can you talk a little bit more about how we've done this before and what's different this time, and maybe even specific to this group? And maybe even for those that might not be familiar with what just went on, maybe you can talk a little bit more about that.
What's the difference before of what you mean in other groups?
I have this feeling that we've done this before.
Oh, many times.
Yeah. So I would love to hear your take on that.
Yeah.
Remember the future.
Yeah. We have done this many times and in different ways. Now, of course, we are entering in the age of Aquarius, which means that everyone will do whatever they want instead of following a rule. So it's going to be a crazy 2,000 years ahead. But we have tried this many times, but not because we failed the other times. As we said, there are 12 cycles of 12. So 12 people that are different, that needs to be combined to fulfill an idea. And there's another one, and another one, and another one. So imagine that there are 12 people during 2,000 years that needs to create 12 ideas, balance those 12 ideas in those 12,000 years, do it in different ways, one through Aquarius, the other one through Pisces, the other one through whatever. So once you walked all that, and you accomplish a process of 12,000, another 12,000 begin. So it's a whole cycle, a constant cycle of preparation of like a huge machine. So it's not that we have to do it again because we failed the other times, but because we are completing, okay? It's like, this is like building a house. Like whoever builds a house will need help of an electrician, I don't know the words in English, plumber, you know, an architect, whatever. So you're going to need different people with different knowledge, and you cannot start by the electricity. You have to first work with the soil and so on. So there are different layers for different times. So right now we are kind of wiring the house with Wi-Fi.
Foundation, kind of?
The what?
Like the foundation?
What is the foundation? Egypt?
No, like this work is like the foundation, like the beginning of for what's next?
No. As I said, we are just changing the cables. We are wiring stuff. That's why this age is technology. It's like we're trying to put the cameras and the whole thing around the house. So that's our time. But it's not like we have to start from beginning, because there were many that did it before. So why do we go back to the main basis of everything? Like sitting in this position and meditating and breathe. Because when we don't know that we are building a house, we need kind of let's sit down and go back to the main idea. Why are we building the house? Why are we putting the cameras and the Wi-Fi? So for that, we have to go back to the person that sat down on the floor and said, I will build a house here. So that's why we all have to go back to that fractal, which was someone sitting in this position and connecting with the territory and connecting with the entire universe and saying, oh, this is why we're here. So when we sit in this position and we breathe and concentrate in the main basics of our inner structure, we can access to the entire plan. That's why we have to go back to these ideas. So whoever designs everything from the mind, just because we need to keep going and don't go back to that guy that sat in, and had the first idea. So it's all stressful. And you're building things on the top of others that will fall and that will have conflicts and people that disagree because, no, the house was for this, no, this room is for that. So that's the main conflict. That's why there are people with a lot of power, ideas, and abilities to create the best house, but they don't sit to meditate to go back to that first idea. So that's why we have to do these kind of things. Yeah.
You talked about the alchemy from medicine, or from poison to medicine, and could you elaborate what the poison is in our current time?
Poison basically is distraction. Distraction is when this. It's just that. We are constantly distracted by millions of things. So that's why in the past 2,000 years, what some of the enlightened people found in order to solve that problem was symbols. Okay, let's put a cross there. So even if someone is committing a sin here, you will have the cross here. You know, so that will keep a focus. So it doesn't mean that it's good, but it's useful for the system for a lot of people to have one point of observation. So religions are that. Religions are basically a system that is telling, remember that it doesn't matter what you do, you have to come back to this symbol and observe that. Go to the center, go to the focus. Okay, so that would be one of the ideas. The thing is that we project that focus outside when it's here. So that's one of the main conflicts. So our time is distraction. That's our distraction, actually. So it was something that whoever I was channeling in Antarctica was saying. The real enemy of our time is those who get distracted. So when you need to control a lot of power, you just need to distract. So when you get distracted from yourself, not from the truth, because otherwise we say, oh, they're distracting us. Someone is distracting us from the truth. No one is distracting you from the truth. You are the only one distracted. So if someone distracts here and you are in your center, you're not distracted. So the problem is not them distracting us, is us getting distracted. So that's the most difficult enemy that we have today. Yeah.
So about 5 years ago, I was able to reconnect with some of those memories of us doing this before. And exactly 5 years ago, I started my mission to help us with this wiring. And tonight, I brought an amulet for everyone here to help us lock in not only tonight, but to use as tools for the rest of this trip.
Cool.
So can you explain to the group how they can use these moving forward?
A symbol. A symbol, you said. Yeah.
Amulet.
An amulet, yeah. An amulet, this kind of structures what they do is to create physically the energy that is moving around. So we all are like called to get stones or to bring an amulet or to have a pendant or whatever. So our brain knows that in order to embody the energy that is around, we need to have something physical that represents that. So in many traditions, people created these structures, these tools, and then created an altar, which is basically geometry, where that energy can be structured. So you can be your own, and with others, you can create your own altar, like we did just now. We created an altar, and you were the amulets, for example. But because we are distracted, and then we go to eat and speak about whatever, and then we go to the bathroom, and then, and then we get tired, or we fight with an Egyptian in the streets. So, because our minds go anywhere, so to have something that is physical that you can carry, it creates a point of gravity for you to always hold it with you, that intention. So, so that could be useful, yeah. Thank you. Marv.
Chelsea, it's your birthday. What a gift for you to give to everybody else. Thank you so much.
Good cycle.
I wonder why you think or feel we created an authority that is very scared of us being free in these temples. And what part of us created a structure to not allow us to be free to express ourselves fully within these spaces?
What creates this idea of not feeling free to be there? Well, it's a reminder, basically. There are many layers of this, many layers. But because we are in the time of distraction, we have created all the distractions as possible for us not to be able to just feel free to connect, because our biggest challenge is how can we be still in all the distractions. So that's why it's so difficult for us, because if it's easy, you forget that there are many other points that you have to find out. For example, if you if you want to go to this temple, and you have to go to this temple, and you have this preconcept and idea, I have to go there, and suddenly they said, no, you cannot go. It's forbidden. Your point of view is, but I have to, so you start to create a lot of energy to fight against that. But the truth is that in order to get to one point, you need a triangulation. You need two other points to hold that one that you are seeing. Like for the third eye, you need two eyes. So that means that when this is closed, it's because there are other points around that need your presence in order to activate the focus of that place. So because we are in the time of distraction, it cannot be easy for us to do something that doesn't give us the practice of how to be in the center, how to feel here and not to just go there with the mind, you know? So there are many layers because there are other stories of why this territory now it's forbidden. Of course, there's a lot of power that will be resolved in the next years that can shift many minds in the planet. So there are other systems that won't survive if that happens. So let's think about immune system. Okay, so religions are like immune system of a body. Religions and military, they are the immune system. They are not against you, they are protecting themselves. So viruses actually are not bad for the body. The viruses shift the biology in order for you to evolve and transform. But for that you have to be open to transform yourself, even to allow yourself almost to die. So in order to do that, you have to release every belief, every thought of who you are. And even though it's very difficult, because every cell is trying to protect the temple of your body. Okay, so now imagine that your body is Egypt, and the immune system is a religion. So of course, when a virus, like ours, come to shift something, for it to move forward, the defense system will protect. So, but none is bad or good. It's just immune system, virus, evolution, and this constant work of we are all working for evolution. We are not damaging anything. Yeah. There are many layers of that. Yeah. Yeah.
So, what I'm understanding here about this eccentricity, the distraction. So, the work here is the work in the attention.
Mm-hmm.
So, how it's very hard, you know, how easy it is.
Of course.
So, it's every minute, it's like dying every second.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and for me, what I'm getting this is like, I need to get distracted. Keep getting distracted. It's like no avoiding distraction. Actually, I need to get distracted all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Get out of that point,
Mm-hmm.
right? From the executive point, right? To go back to align myself. So my attention needs to be action. It's a constant action.
Yes.
But what happens when I have this hyper-vigilance?
Hyper what?
Like I get too into this mindset of the constant, that I need to align myself, I need to align, and it becomes
An obsession?
an obsession. And
Yeah.
you have PTSD, even worse. You have a special disorder who have arthritis, has seizures, 24 hours, 24/7. And my mind needs to be trained to be alert. And how can I, my distraction, I cannot be distracted. But what I'm doing right now is I'm completely distracted, you know, so far away from her right now, just, with the nurses. So, my problem with the attention is how can I manage the energy that I'm using in control of this attention?
Well, we all have a different system. So, of course, let's talk about very, very, very basic astrology. For example, attention for a Taurus is not the same attention for a Leo, for example, or the same attention for Pisces that has no attention. So each one of us has a specific design or system that we can use as a tool. So when you recognize your poison, which is, for example, I don't know where to put the attention because I'm distracted constantly, one of the main mistakes that we can do is to think that in order to find focus, you need to follow what I do. So that's why we read a book and we say, oh, I will do what is good for Matías because it's working for him, you know? But it's working for me in this way because I'm designed in this way, so I'm using that way. But for you, it could be completely different.
It's like rock and roll.
Yeah. So there's people that find, for example, my best friend, she loves heavy metal. I can't stand heavy metal. I can't with it. But she can sleep with it. She's like, oh, like all the noise, and she's like, because she's Virgo. So she needs to organize a lot of shit all the time in her brain. So chaos for her is organizing. So you have to find where is your tool to use in order to create attention. Because attention is not like I forget about everything and I concentrate here. That's for some people. For some people is I have to forget about everything that distracts me and go here. For some others is I have to pay attention to everything so there's nothing. You know what I mean? So every system is different. So you have to find, normally the biggest conflict that we have with something is where we have the tool on how to do it. So try to understand your own design in order to know how to manage it.
So my daughter also, she has a cortical impairment, visual cortical impairment, and she uses prism glasses.
What is that?
And those glasses what does is because she can hold, her eyes are constantly moving.
Yeah.
So what these glasses do to her is they bring all the image to the center.
Oh, yeah.
And the doctor told me that will be a way for her to have a sense where she is. To bring her present.
Yeah, to bring in the present. But for example, in my case, when I am fully connected, they say that my eyes move constantly everywhere, but I am still. So I am fully there when I can see everything that is happening around. And I am fully present when I can see everything instead of just one thing. So for each one of us, as I said, it's completely different. And sometimes we try to normalize a law on this is how it's better for everyone. But it's like saying, for example, autism is a problem. Autism is not a problem. From the point of view of common society is a problem. For them, it's just a different way of connection. So understanding that, we can improve our inner truth by changing the idea of that is a problem that I need to fix, and instead is a tool that I need to learn how to use. Okay? Yeah. Yeah.
I have a question in regards to the comment about throwing the captain off the ship, and we're really trying to align ourselves so that the captain can come on.
Yeah.
Are we really looking for something else outside of us to guide us, the captain? Or is our alignment that itself?
Yeah. Let's go to this. Let's go to this. Yeah. First of all, we are mammals. And as mammals, we naturally will look for someone. For example, you might not look for a president, but maybe you are a lover of a musician. And you follow that person or that actor or that musician like if it's everything, an example for life or everything. So your mind is constantly looking where to put the line where your actions will head to. So we do that because basically we have a mom or a dad that as we are born, there's someone telling us what to do and what not to do. So we are programming ourselves to follow someone that is telling us this is better, this is not. Okay? So because of that, every human is looking for someone to lead their lives. Whether it's a master, a teacher, a mom, a dad, a musician, an artist, whatever. So we are all looking for someone that inspires us to go somewhere. Now, that is not the problem. The problem is when that someone says, I am the only one. I am the way to do that. You know? So I am the one that has the answer. I am the one that knows how to do it. So convince everybody to follow that person in order to accomplish its own goals. Okay? So if the leader, the one that is in front, instead of giving answers, create questions for you to solve by yourself. So in that moment, you are not giving the power to other. You're just putting the consciousness in charge so you can create your compass. But because we are all different, as we were saying here, because we are all different, the mind of the one can only be created when everyone is leading in their own. But for everyone to understand their own, you need in front someone that is looking for its own. Not someone that is saying that way, but saying that is saying this way. So everyone will, oh, this way. You know? So it's like a game. It's like, for example, I love to use the bees example. Like, bees know, each one of them knows what to do. But no one tells them what to do. And even though the reason why they know what to do is because the queen knows what to do, which is just to be in the center. So I am here just providing the vibration. And so all the others can find the flowers and move around and build the hive, not because the queen is telling for them to do it, but because they tune themselves into the truth. So that's it. Yeah.
Follow-up question. I've heard friends speak a bit about a path you've spoken about that begins on your birthday, like that year beginning on the day of your birth. Could you talk more about that, please?
Yeah, of course. In 2020 and 2021, I did myself an inner path that was my own, but I use it as an example for everyone. So it was basically like having therapy every day in public, openly with everyone. So I cried, I shouted, I got mad, I went through everything. From the day of my birthday, 2020, until the day of my birthday in 2021. So all that year, 365 days, what I did was to create my own timeline. So it means that I walked the path consciously for 365 days, starting with my mind, my emotion, my body, every month, the 12 steps of the I am, I call it. So in my case, what I did was I went every morning to the Great Pyramid. I lived 1 year in Giza. I went every morning. It was during COVID, so no one was there. I was the only one. So I went there, meditated inside, downloaded a message, wrote what I talked with myself, and then I explained it in YouTube. So I repeat that every day. Meditation inside the pyramid, writing the conversations between me and myself, and explain that conversation to everybody in English and Spanish in the same video, which is annoying, but that was what I got. that was my only way. So I did that every day for 370 days. And what was the purpose of that? Of course, because I am Leo, I did it all about myself. And I said, okay, so I will do it in my birthday. So everyone can celebrate my birthday. So, but the actual thing there was not saying my birthday is the Atlantean year. I was trying to prove something, which is everyone has its own year. Like the year doesn't start January 1st. The year starts in your birthday. For you, when you were born. So in that moment, your tick-tack, tick-tack starts to move. So the first month of the year is the month where you were born. Not just the month, the day. Okay, so that's how you can structure a new time for your own life according to your life. Otherwise, you are just living the life of someone that in the 1600s decided that that's the calendar. And we are all stuck in our own time, living the lives of others. So that's why, for me, the year starts August 4th.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, so... Well, Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to you, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's time to eat.
Time to eat.
Oh, one more.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, before we go. I need a microphone.
Okay.
Thank you. So we're going to try and get this wristband situation figured out. So there is a pad of paper on everybody's table with a pencil. And so if you guys can just quickly write your name and your wristband color, we'll come around and collect those on your neck. Just very quick.